sales director of, it's so small.
OutBack Power.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's right there.
It's right there. Okay, Brent, thank you.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Brandon Krumbelenko. We all wear many hats at OutBack Power, but my favorite hat is working with the customers. I help work with customers to determine what it is that they want, what it is that they actually need, and what their budget is, of course, but ultimately, I want to present a solution that's going to work for them. So, you know those kind of customers that want to have it all? They want to generate their own power, they want to sell power to the grid, they want to consume their own energy, and then they want to have power when the power goes out. A lot of installers, a lot of people actually kind of shun those guys and say, you know what, you want to just go with a grid-tied solution. Well, at OutBack Power, we've been working with those kind of customers for about 15 years. This is what we do. Today, I'm going to talk to you about one of those customers. In Haliburton, Ontario, Canada, it's a very small town of about 6,500 people. It's very attractive for retirees to live there. It's cold there too. But it's really attractive for retirees to live there. It's a beautiful place, not too much population, but the electricity costs are through the roof. I mean, we're talking up to $8,000 billed by Hydro One for their energy there. So, when we think about our solutions, the first thing that a customer like that says when they have $8,000 in energy costs is, how do I get around this? How can I make more energy efficiency in my home or in my business? What can I do to reduce this cost? And then, what can I do to actually generate power and be sustainable? So, the Haliburton Soap Factory in Haliburton, Ontario, completely constrained by the cost of electricity, called up Haliburton Solar and Wind and asked them about what kind of solutions they have. Well, Haliburton Solar and Wind, of course, said, hey, in Ontario, we got this great program. It's called FIT, Feed-In Tariff Program. And we'll apply for this, we'll sell back power, you guys will reduce your energy costs immensely, it'll be great. Well, they applied for it, and they were rejected by Hydro One. Just like all utilities, there's typically two reasons why they're going to be rejected for net energy metering or feed-in tariff program. One is grid saturation. That's kind of interesting, grid saturation in a town of 6,500 people, but maybe that's the case. But the other one is islanding, right? They're concerned if we have too much power distributed, it's going to come back in the grid, and if some power goes out, we're going to be putting too much power in there, and somebody it's a safety hazard, right? So, after they were rejected, they went back to Haliburton Solar and Wind and said, what else can you do for us, right? We're getting killed by this. Our factory is having a hard time paying these costs. It's killing our personal finances. What else can you do? Well, that's George and Elaine Schmidt, by the way. So they went and talked to Brian Nash, and Brian Nash just came back, actually, from our certified training program in Arlington, Washington at our headquarters. It's a 4-day intensive program, and it teaches our installers all about energy storage. It's really cool. From day one, they start figuring out how to size batteries, they figure out how to size inverters, really figuring out the ins and outs of energy storage. A lot of people talk about it, not a lot of people know a lot about it, so we bring them into our headquarters and we just teach them intensively for 4 days. Well, Brian came out of there knowing quite a bit about energy storage and the capabilities of OutBack Power. So he came back to George and Elaine and he said, well guys, we got a couple of different options, but one option is, what would you think if we were to work with the grid, but instead of actually selling any power back, we're going to allow you to self-consume your own energy, and we'll only use the grid when we absolutely need it. Right? So they said, well, okay, we can self-consume, we can tie into the grid, it's not a problem for Hydro One. And they checked with Hydro One, and actually, Hydro One came back and said, absolutely, we'd love for you guys to do that. It'll allow you to have renewable energy, it'll help us meet our quota for renewables in our utility district, and they actually let them tie into the grid, and without ever selling back, but just self-consume the own energy that they're making. So, together, Brian Nash from Haliburton Solar and Wind, the Schmidts, OutBack Power worked to design a solution. Basically, we had 3 objectives, and it's to design a system to provide long-term savings and a short-term payback period. We really wanted to reduce their overall cost of electricity. I mean, these guys are paying, with that business in their house, they're paying on the maximum of the scale of about $8,000 a year in energy costs, right? So they really needed to take care of that as a #1 objective. And then, of course, they want to create enough renewable electricity to support their sustainable lifestyle. Their soap factory is all organic. They're really natural, and they want to have this benefit to people. So sustainability was really important to them. So in order to address all of the needs, this is kind of a cool pick, but in order to address everybody's needs, we put in a 10 kW PV system. We put about 14 kW in inverters, and of course energy storage. Now, this allows them to be completely sustainable. The way I like to think about GridZero as an application is really a beginner off-grid kit, right? If you think you can do a good job with your energy efficiency and you're not going to be really needing the grid at all with your solar and everything, if you want to test that out, you buy an OutBack Radiant inverter and you would see, right? Put it in self-consumption mode, right? GridZero mode, and consume your energy. Now, if you look at your electricity bill and you bought anything, then you know, okay, well, there's some kind of hour in the day where I'm using more electricity than I'm actually generating, right? So that's a kind of a cool test that you can do with the OutBack system. But it's also cool because what happens to most people is they are really good energy efficient people, but when they wake up in the morning, they've got 2 daughters like me, wife's cooking, daughters are blow drying their hair, energy consumption's through the roof, right? The batteries would just be draining at this point. Well, I mean, you need a little help, right? So we call the grid our backup generator in this case, which is nice. But for every other part of the day, you're off on your own, you're consuming your own energy that you're generating. So with GridZero, savings can be realized by offsetting the utility costs from self-consumption during the day and using stored renewable electricity at night with their energy storage. We don't care what kind of energy storage you have, by the way. I know there's a lot of buzz about energy storage. We still work a lot with lead-acid batteries, but we work with lithium technologies. We work with lithium manganese, lithium iron phosphate, really whatever you have. We even have a couple of systems out there using aqueous energy. So with that, with the limited sunlight in Haliburton, Ontario, central Ontario, by the way, they only get about 3.8 hours of sun, and a lot of solar access. You saw the picture of the freezing house. Well, even there, you can have a solar energy system, self-consume your own energy, and save a lot of money by doing that. In this Haliburton soap factory, they're saving $4,000 every year, sometimes a little bit more every year, which allows them to have a sustainable business and be effective, almost an off-gridder. So thank you very much. Oops. There you go. Appreciate your time.